On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Hail Mary by I Wrestled a Bear Once.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today, it is the first episode of Female February.
Yeah, the ladies of metal.
Where we there wasn't quite, there. I feel like you almost went the ladies.
Yeah, the ladies. No,
you almost went after it like Zap Brannigan.
Yeah, ladies.
But no, we take some time to celebrate the ladies in heavy metal.
Right. Yeah, I did mean it that way. Just for the record, it wasn't.
I know you don't. I know you didn't. I don't know. I felt like being a dick.
Which is ironic since we're talking about the ladies of metal.
Sure, certainly. We're really coming out of the gate composed and professional. We're just a couple of dumbasses.
Decomposed.
But in any case, today we'll be talking about I Wrestled a Bear Once, which is a metalcore band.
Yeah,
I guess you could. That's the best thing to call them.
That's the
throughout the history of the band. They're a very wide variety of styles and influences you could attribute, but broadly speaking,
from what I understand, Hail Mary kind of threw people for a loop.
I guess it's broadly speaking more leans further into metalcore and deathcore territory than a lot of their earlier stuff, which was more firmly kind of just fucking random. Like I don't have a ton of experience with their earlier material.
Yeah. Because
honestly, at the time, this was, years ago, at the time I turned it on and went, that's too much for me. And then, went on my way.
Your merry way.
Went on my merry way until the lead up to this album coming out, when someone was like, hey, listen to this. That's a female vocalist. And I was like, what the fuck? Absolutely blew my mind. And that would continue to happen with Spiritbox much later on.
Nice.
But we'll talk more about the band later. First, how are you?
I'm doing fan-friggin-tastic. This is the last day of 48 for me.
The last day of 48?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
My birthday tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. I get it now. Yes, your birthday is tomorrow.
No, this is my last day in the contiguous 48. I'm moving to Hawaii.
You're moving to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you shouldn't move to Alaska.
No.
I mean, on one hand, mountains are pretty.
Right.
Trees are pretty.
They are.
On the other hand, it's
bears.
Alaska.
There are bears.
There are bears there. And you might get eaten by them.
That was another thing
that not your friends.
That happened last night with the coworker that I was working with.
You started talking about Werner Herzog?
No, she did. No, I brought up bears, and what the hell was she said? She gave the opening line to that movie. What's his name? Timothy Treadwell, who's a very stupid man. And I turned to her and I went,
a stupid man.
Yeah. And we both started laughing about, man, I wonder what that final footage looks like. You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. The one that Werner Herzog was like, this should be destroyed.
It should be destroyed.
No one should ever watch this or listen to it again.
Right.
But yeah,
that was a fun bonding moment with my coworker.
That's good. All of the people in your life are obsessed with Werner Herzog.
It seems like it. How does that? What kind of people am I fucking gravitating toward?
That for some reason, are fans of this dour German man,
right? Which makes me kind of want to sort of adopt the personality of Klaus Kinski, I think.
Oh, no, please, as someone that works with you, no.
Somebody who sees me 6 days a week.
God, please, no.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to work with Klaus Kinski. Except apparently Werner Herzog, who felt compelled to keep working with him, despite the fact that they fucking hated each other.
Well, Werner has the tendency to not. He's a blind spot for human personality.
Yes, because he didn't realize John Waters was gay.
Yeah, for like 30 years. They were friends for a long
each
time.
other and were friends.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to suspect that John might be gay. Yeah.
Really?
Duh, obviously.
Really, Werner?
He just apparently doesn't. Maybe he just doesn't understand people.
Yeah, which is a weird thing for a director. A movie director.
Well, I think that if you look at his filmography, most of his movies are about people in opposition to something else.
I suppose.
Oftentimes, like it's usually most of it is man versus nature type stuff.
Sure.
So I wonder if that kind of plays into it a little bit. I don't know. People love to armchair psychoanalyze film directors.
Yeah.
Which is I feel like
silly.
usually a bit silly. Mm-hmm. You're like, this is just their art. Like it's. I was watching a video about David Lynch,
right?
And a section of the video, because the title of the video is "Why Are David Lynch Movies Like That?"
Yeah.
And there was a section of the video devoted to like, we're not really gonna get into trying to psychoanalyze David Lynch through the lens of his movies, because that's dumb. Just let the movies speak for themselves. And here's the technical reasons why they are the way they are. But
if you want to know about David Lynch, just analyze his weather reports.
Yeah, that's the true David Lynch that shines through, which means he's just a slightly weird but incredibly kind old man.
Yeah.
Who always wishes everybody to have a fantastic day.
But it's weird. He's got both sides of that personality. He's got, I just want everybody to have a great day in the golden sunshine.
Golden sunshine.
Yeah. On the other hand, he's also the kind of guy who, for some reason, can't be pushed around. I mean,
oh yeah, no, he doesn't take shit.
He doesn't take shit from anybody.
Fucking, we'll film it this way. I don't give a fuck what they say. We're doing it. What's that fucking noise? Turn that shit off. I haven't. I know he shows up in one scene in the. Is it a movie or a show? Is the Meet the Fabelmans? That's sort of
it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. That's like loosely autobiographical about Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it's a recent movie. Yeah.
And he.
The Fabelmans. No, I don't think it's Meet the Fabelmans.
Is it? I think it's just the Fabelmans.
Yeah.
I don't know where the meet the part came from. But
Meet the Deedles.
He shows up as some famous director. I can't remember.
But not David Lynch.
No, not David Lynch.
Uh-huh.
But I can't remember. I watched the scene of him, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. He shows up as Kurosawa.
Yeah, Kurosawa.
No.
I would hope not. That would be, I mean, it would be interesting to see David Lynch do that, but it would be wrong.
Yeah. I told you I started playing that game in Kurosawa mode, right?
Oh, yeah. Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. Because it gives
black
you
and white.
Yeah, it gives you the option to play it in grainy black and white in all Japanese with subtitles in English. Mm-hmm. And I got like about 2 hours into it, and I'm like,
maybe not.
Kind of.
John Ford was the
John
director
Ford.
he portrayed.
Gotcha.
In the Fabelmans.
Okay.
Was it just a little weird to play a video game in black and white, or?
Well, not entirely, and it's like it was in old film, like it had been dug out of because it had all the there
was a filter,
and it was a filter through it, and it had great novelty at first. It was fun, but after a while, I'm like, I'd really like to know what artwork they put into this. I want to say
the game is in color. That's the intended way to play it.
Right. This is probably beautiful, and this is.
What the hell was the I can't remember if it was the first season of The Walking Dead or if it was The Mist. I think it was The Mist, where Frank Darabont actually intended for the movie to be in black and white,
right,
and was forced to film it in color. Mm-hmm. He wanted to do the whole thing in black and white. And you can watch. There is like a version of it in digital black and white that you can watch.
One of the most heart-sickening endings to a movie ever.
That fucking Steven I almost said Spielberg, not Steven Spielberg. Steven
Seagal.
Who wrote the book?
King.
Stephen King. Thank you. Good God. Stephen King was like, yeah, yours is better.
Yeah.
The end of yours is better.
Yeah.
Which is not not insane to hear from Stephen King because he's notorious for not knowing how to end his books.
Right. Well, that's why they're all 900 pages long.
Yeah. They just kind of drag on and then the ending is kind of like, okay.
I got the end.
Why did the clown turn into a spider?
I don't know.
Sure, fine. But what are you? Hey, no, get down from there.
Sorry, I apologize, Kale.
He's climbing on the ceilings, and he's just
I've been so tense lately. Plus, I got
like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got bitten by a radioactive weasel earlier.
Which gives you the ability to climb on ceilings like weasels do.
Yeah, I'm a ceiling weasel.
Famous ceiling weasel.
Yeah,
in their natural habitat, places with ceilings.
Right, exactly. Weasels evolved in apartment complexes,
in warehouses, and just inside buildings and whatnot. No, my cat was on my computer desk, which she's not supposed to do because she wants attention.
Yeah.
And instead of just coming over and sitting in my lap, she went up on the desk, which she's not supposed to do. But now I got her in my lap. We were talking about the whole D&D shenanigans and fiasco.
Oh, sure. Right. And is there an update on that?
Yes. Wizards of the Coast did a big grand romantic gesture, which was probably I'm not going to complain about the thing itself because it is good, but is also I don't have a complete understanding of it, but perhaps shooting themselves in the foot just a little bit again in the opposite direction, which is they put the entirety of the 5th edition like SRD and original OGL into the Creative Commons. So it can't be fucked with. Basically the third-party publishers are going to be okay now.
Good.
As it would say, like they can continue publishing content based on the original OGL. But since like the entire 5th edition SRD has been put into Creative Commons, I did see some comments indicating that would in theory void some of their like trademarked and or copyrighted monster names.
Oh, really?
Like they no longer necessarily have exclusive rights to call a squid face monster an Ithalid or Mind Flayer.
Like as in, okay.
Or like beholders and stuff like those or the names of particular gods that they, that come from original D&D IPs, whether, Pelor or
and this is for second party creators.
Third party
creators, yeah.
I don't even know what a second party creator would be.
I guess that'd be somebody who's playing D&D.
I guess.
Making shit up as they go along.
Sure.
So you.
Yeah, me. But like other gods that are original to some of their settings, because they do have some gods that are just like, that's just a real thing. Like Bahamut and Tiamat are real figures from, I believe, Mesopotamian mythology. So on and so forth. There's some other ones. Rivers. There's a god in, I believe, the Forgotten Realms that's literally just Tyr from Norse mythology. He's just Tyr.
Really?
I think I might be getting that somewhat confused. There are so many gods in the Forgotten Realms. It's one of the things I don't like about. There are many things I don't like about Forgotten Realms, but one of them is definitely that there is just too much stuff.
Yeah,
which is really good when I need ideas for something, or I need like a template. Like I'm looking to create this archetypal kind of thing, and I don't feel like detailing all of it out myself. I will just look for the Forgotten Realms version of that and just go like, oh, okay, that's good for inspiration. But if I were trying to run like just a straight up game set in the Forgotten Realms, I would feel so overwhelmed.
Right. You just need to lift from it
by the sheer weight of canon in that setting.
I'm just imagining now somebody opening the door at Sony Santa Monica and being served papers from Hasbro. The fuck is going on here?
Oh, yeah. That'd be funny.
For using tier? Are you shitting me?
There was a moment where some people were like, should we boycott Baldur's Gate 3? And I was like, no. No,
you
please
should not.
Please don't. I'm very excited for the game. Please don't. Because Baldur's Gate 3 is using the 5th edition mechanics. And, it's something I have a very deep understanding of, which like there's been a couple other isometric like turn-based RPGs that I've tried to play a little bit of. And I kind of fall off of them because I don't have like a super deep understanding of the mechanics. And they like... There are some of them where it feels like it introduces you to too much all at once rather than like, most video games where it's like slowly introducing these topics. It feels less intuitive because it's all like turn-based and all the different buttons and everything. There's just something that didn't feel very intuitive about it to me. But then Baldur's Gate 3, it's like, oh, I know all this shit. I already know all this shit. Like I have most of this stuff memorized. It's just a little bit different because it's a video game and there are some things that don't really work when you translate it to a video game. Right. Like, I don't know if they have figured out a way to make counterspell work.
Really?
I don't see how they could.
How do they implement your THACO? I mean...
that would be the original 2 Baldur's Gates.
Yes.
I don't know how they handled that because the original 2 Baldur's Gate games also weren't turn-based.
Weren't they?
It was real time, but you could pause to like queue up stuff that you were going to do. That's at least my understanding of how combat worked. It wasn't strictly turn based. Whereas Baldur's Gate 3 is much closer to how the game is played on tabletop. Right. It's just, there's not a grid necessarily. You're just free to move wherever you like because it's a full 3D simulation. You can figure it out however you please.
Speaking of things translated from video games, I told you today. I've been watching the Last of Us.
Yes.
Yeah. Damn good show.
That's what I keep hearing. I just don't have the HBO.
Yeah.
I don't have the HBO, and
I know a guy who could loan it to you. My buddy, what's the hell's his name? Pirate Bay. You know him?
That's a weird name.
He loans me movies and stuff every now and then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might do. I would give myself all the viruses, I think.
Yeah, that's been a hell for us this week, hasn't it?
That's so we both work at a radio station.
Yeah.
And at that radio station, we bring in some national news to help people be aware of what's going on in the country. And the service that sends the network that sends this national news out to us and hundreds of other stations across the United States of America.
Which I love because it's called Skyview Networks, but everybody abbreviates the Skynet,
right? They were hit with a cyber attack. And so our ability to get the news every hour on the hour has been severely impeded. Right. And it's been a pain in the ass.
It has.
And this isn't the first time that this has happened. Not with this new. I think there was a big cyber attack on our previous news provider. Yeah. As well at one point. And I don't remember how we dealt with that at the time, but I remember it being annoying. This shit happens. It happens sometimes. There's a cat. I got a cat.
Yeah, the kitty.
I got a kitty.
And a long-haired kitty.
She's been she has gotten slightly more annoying lately because when I sit on the couch, now all she wants to do is play Hand Monster. Which is what I call it when she wants to play and will try to attack my hand.
Sure.
And I just kind of like move it around, and we'll play fight a little bit. But that's all she wants to do, and she'll like sit up on the back of the couch and start meowing at me.
Right.
And it's like, I'm doing something else right now. It's like I'm trying to watch fucking like Legend of Vox Machina or something. It's like I'm trying to watch this shit.
Have you watched the season 2 yet?
Up to episode 6. I don't know if it's been a new batch.
It's all the series.
I'm all caught up.
Nice.
With what has been.
It's been very harrowing.
It's been quite good so far. It's been a pretty heavy season.
Right.
I don't know, because I haven't watched through the original campaign for Vox Machina. Just like, I've seen clips and whatnot, and have a general idea for how things go. And he's had a couple, a fair amount of focus so far. But I find myself kind of bored by Vax.
Really?
I find Vax kind of boring. He's a little too broody. And I've seen like a number of clips from the original campaign, and he seemed like he was a lot funnier and more fun.
He's funnier in the first season.
Yeah. Like he's not. And, it's been a pretty heavy season so far, and he's had some pretty bad things happen to him. So he's been a bit quieter than normal.
Especially episode 3.
But it's, I don't know. So far this season, he's just, I feel like he needs a little pick me up soon, because he's kind of losing me a little bit on Vax.
He's making DeRollo look cheerful.
Yeah, well, and Percy hasn't had fucking anything to do so far this season, because all of his shit was in season 1.
Right.
Like Percy's been just kind of there so far, which I get, because they took care of all of his stuff already, which is, that's how the campaign went too, where they did. I was kind of sad that the scene with the gunpowder merchant was so short, because the original version of that scene is, it's the length of an entire episode of Legend of Vox Machina, but it is some of the funniest. Every scene between Percy and Victor is some of the funniest like role playing I have ever seen.
And they left that out.
They left a lot of it out. It was just a very short, like Percy walks in, buys some gunpowder. Victor is ridiculous, talks about having seen Dr. Ripley, and then he leaves. Which I was happy that Victor was there, but like, all the scenes between, because there are multiple. Every time they go back to Vasselheim, Percy needs gunpowder. Right. And so he'll go and talk to Victor, and some new awful thing has happened to Victor because he doesn't know what he's doing with the gunpowder.
All right, because he was missing 2 of his fingers.
Yeah.
And it was a bit jarring of the fact that the dragons came and attacked, and they're like, we need to get back to
Tal'Dorei? Or Iman, or
where Percy's from.
Whitestone.
Yeah, Whitestone. They had to get back to Whitestone. They got back to Whitestone. It's like, it's all been fucking repaired, and the tree is okay again. Hasn't it been like a week?
I think at the end of season 1 it was a short kind of montage scene where it seems to me to have been implied that it had been a couple of months. At the very least,
I suppose,
because they show Percy like building his new gun and so on and so forth, and like their castle was so much like better put together when they left to go fight the Briarwoods. It was still an absolute piece of shit. That's my heater.
Is that your heater?
That's my heater.
Are you sure it's the washing machine? Oh no, you're right.
It's getting quieter.
Okay.
No, that's my heaters have now been making noise. I got a text from the property manager a couple weeks ago of like, have your heaters been making noise? And I was like, no, I haven't heard them make any noise. But at that point, they had been on pretty continuously for a while.
Right.
Because it had been cold as fuck. And recently I'd like, so it was like, could, maintenance come and take a look at them? I was like, yeah, that's fine. And since they supposedly came and take a look at them, they've been making noise.
Sure.
So I don't know if it has to do with something that they did, or if it's just a general problem with them that cannot be repaired.
Maybe it's just that's policy for your rental thing. They called and asked, has your ship been making noise? And you said no. They're like, oh, we better go fix that.
Yeah, we're gonna make it make noise.
We're gonna put rocks in their ventilation system.
Yeah, and like I've heard them like make noise before, but like so far this winter, I felt like they had been pretty quiet.
Yeah,
but ever since they supposedly came in and checked on stuff, they've been noisy as fuck. So I don't know. I should probably put in like a work order or something and be like, hey, did you actually fix my shit or did you fuck it up? Because it's kind of annoying.
It is.
But anyhow, do you want to talk about I Wrestled a Bear Once?
Show enough, like the band.
The band, yes.
Not the what you did when you were in junior high.
Not what I did.
Right.
Oh no, I forgot his name. Gary Busey says he did.
Right.
The name of the band is a reference to something that Gary Busey once said on some Comedy Central show.
Right. Yeah, because he had his own reality show. They followed Gary Busey around for a while.
And he made that comment, and that's what the name of the band is based on. I like, beyond their incredibly eclectic sort of musical style throughout their earlier period, they struck me as being a very, very 2007-ish band. Like that's when the band started. And if you know anything about like the music culture of people in their late teens and early 20s in 2007 in the alternative scene, there's a very specific sort of imagery, I think, that comes to mind between 2007 and 2012. It's they struck me as being a very sort of that era type band, just with a musical style that was a lot more complicated and intricate than the type of metalcore that a lot of their contemporaries were making, bands like Asking Alexandria and so on and so forth, where it was very what?
No,
you're giggling. Why are you giggling?
We'll talk about it in about 20 minutes.
Okay. Is it about what you opened up your phone to?
No, it's not. What? No, that was an ad suddenly popped up. I was looking. Okay. I was trying to check a year on something. I'm like, okay, nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, they struck me as being kind of their time, at least when I first tried to listen to them, probably in the lead up to this coming out, like, oh, listen to some of their earlier stuff. And it's like, this is a little too lol. Isn't this so random type, but with extreme music.
Right.
Like that sort of energy, but with extreme music.
But not with this.
Not with this. And I think the band in general, began to mature. Certainly. This is the second album to feature Courtney LaPlante on vocals. It's the first to feature, I don't know if he was her husband at the time or if they would later get married, but Mike Stringer was also...
Was he in Spiritbox too, right?
Yes, they're in Spiritbox together. Yeah. This was his first album.
Okay.
This was her second album. And then after this album, the band would kind of come apart a little bit. Courtney and Mike announced that they were going to do Spiritbox as like a side project.
Sure.
And then the band slowly just kind of came apart after that. And part of them deciding to do Spiritbox was they both felt like they had continued to just be replacement people, even though like Courtney had been with them for 2 albums. They both just felt like they were a little burnt out and weren't really like real members of the band. They weren't founding members. A number of the other members of the band at that point were still founding members. The original vocalist was... I can't remember. I gotta move over the mouse on the computer screen. Krista Cameron was the original vocalist, and she had left in 2012 because she had a kid and was just like, well, I'm not doing the band anymore.
Right. And her brother Kirk did not approve of the type of music that she was doing. So, I mean,
and Candace was, busy doing Lifetime Christmas movies.
Exactly.
But so she originally
was making movies.
Yep.
Anyway.
James. So she originally had yep. He was busy working on I mean, he was working on Avatar 2 at the time. It's just it was a long way in the future.
Exactly.
Or he was deep sea diving, one of the two.
Well, probably at the same time.
I mean, both.
He was probably writing it off on his taxes as research for his movie.
That's the good point.
Yeah.
But
where are you going? I'm going the way of water.
I still have not. I have not watched it.
I haven't either.
But in any case,
yeah.
So Krista left. Courtney originally was just filling in, and then Krista later announced that she wasn't coming back. So Courtney became a permanent member of the band. This album was kind of a, as I understand it, a sort of maturation of their sound. This is still, very intricate, very technical. There is a lot of pretty crazy time signatures going on. There's a lot of really fast riffing.
There's a lot of mathcore influence in here.
This is still a very, and metalcore is what you see on their Wikipedia page for their genre.
Yeah.
But I think mathcore is more appropriate. I think they even if you look at Wikipedia for the Dillinger Escape Plan, they still call them a metalcore band when they're the mathcore band.
Right.
So I don't know if it's just too specific a genre for whatever Wikipedia's format is for pages about bands. They might have a specific format, be use a slightly more general genre for this. Maybe. I don't know.
It'd be cool if they had a biocore band.
Biocore? What would that be?
Well, I don't know. It would be based on biology rather than math. I mean, something, I don't know. What would that be? You would have maybe.
I don't know what it would be.
Maybe all the rhythms would be circadian.
That would be pretty slow, I would imagine.
Yeah, imagine they play for a while.
Those take a while.
Sure, and then they went to get it, and then it would be hours and hours because
is that sleep? Is that what sleep is?
They're a biocore band.
Sleep is a biocore
because all the rhythms are circadian.
Speaking of doom metal and things that are very slow, I don't know when it happened, but apparently they're still available because I bought one. Profound Lore did a reissue for the vinyl of Mirror Reaper. So really? I bought one today.
Did you not have it on vinyl before?
No, because when I got into the album and I looked for vinyl, it was $200.
Right.
It was insanely expensive, and they did a reprint at some point, and so they're available again.
Nice.
And so I bought one. So that'll be cool. But yeah, at the time it was really, really expensive.
Sure.
And then they did a reprint. What happened with. Actually, did I buy it or did you get me from Mars to Sirius?
I got you from Mars to Sirius.
Did they do a reprint or did you pay out the ass for that one?
Here's what happened is that I had spent so much goddamn money on Amazon
that you had a whole bunch of points to spend or something.
It was expensive, but it was free.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I do know that I got a reprint of Departure Songs by We Lost the Sea. They did a reissue of that. Mm-hmm. And it became available again but that one was $500 or some shit.
Right.
Before they did that reissue. It was nuts. But back to the band at hand. My nose is really, really
I've noticed that. Mine has been like that lately.
I don't know.
The office, it's fungus.
I feel like it's something I ate, but it's I didn't eat anything today out of the ordinary. Mm-hmm. I had a turkey wrap before we started recording.
Yeah. And
that's just shit that I eat all the time. I eat it all the time and my nose doesn't get weirdly itchy. So what you looked at me weird.
Oh, just because I'd watched The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, I've got the cordyceps.
Yeah, you got cordyceps.
I've got human cordyceps virus.
Right.
Virus.
Or fungus.
Fungus, yeah. fungus. So other than Courtney LaPlante and Mike Stringer, the members of the band at this point also consisted of Stephen Bradley, who I believe is the founding guitarist and also one of the programmers for different, electronic parts of the music. Then there's Mike Martin on bass and Mikey Montgomery. 3 Mikes in the band.
Wow.
Mike, and Mikey. Mikey Montgomery was the drummer at the time. Does this album slap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does.
This is a very heavy album.
Yes.
To the degree where it's almost surprising that it's really on the edge for me between metalcore and deathcore, especially with the vocals. There's some of Courtney's clean singing is on here as well,
right? But
the vast majority of her vocal work on this is screamed vocals, and a lot of it is growled too.
A lot of it is screamed and growled,
and in that sort of kind of slightly crispy, very sort of like the mic very close in to her mouth. Style of kind of like hardcore sound, sort of sounding vocals.
It also it sounds like maybe it was an active microphone.
Yeah.
They're
and it's I think probably a conscious choice. Like that's a style that you hear on some albums of a style of vocals you hear like that. And it's kind of interesting to me hearing like the vocal development that Courtney LaPlante's gone through, where I think she has she was already really good on this album. I think she's gotten so much better as a vocalist since this album, in the last 7 years.
And she was
now.
Great on this.
She was fantastic on this, but like you listen to this and then you listen to something from Eternal Blue and it's like, wow, she started good and got so much better already. And I think part of that also has to do with just better or different vocal production on Spiritbox. There's definitely a pretty heavy focus on her vocals in Spiritbox, which is maybe not quite the case for this album. We haven't said the name of the album in a long time. It's called Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I really dug this album. I just had like a couple of complaints. Like there was it was a little bit of sameness among a lot of the tracks.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, like if I accidentally listen to one of the tracks on repeat, I might not know it.
That definitely sprang to my mind when it came time for me to figure out which song I liked the most. It was like, oh, a lot of this kind of blends together for me.
Right.
There's a lot of songs on here too.
Yeah.
This is a 44-minute album, and it's a 14 or 15 track album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of songs. A number of them are fairly. There's one that's like 2 minutes.
Right.
Basically, like almost a grindcore song.
Yeah.
A bit higher fidelity than you get in a lot of grindcore, though that's not necessarily like.
Well, there's a couple in here that seem to be kind of place marker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There are some songs that definitely are easier to place because they are different. They change things up. They have more clean vocals.
In fact,
on them, more melody.
Yeah. Wow. I'll tell you.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say my favorite song on this is possibly the least heavy song on this,
which is
Destined to Fail 2.
Doomed to Fail.
Doomed to Fail.
Yeah, I also put that as my favorite song.
Yeah,
part 1 and 2.
Yeah, I actually prefer part 2. I like part 1 as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just kind of put them together because there is a decently clean break between the two of them.
Yeah.
But I just put them together as one because, hey, why not? It's part 1 and 2. Just put them both in there. I'm so distracted by how itchy my nose is. I cannot put a coherent sentence together because my nose is just itchy and it bugs. This is what happens to me when I eat Wendy's, by the way.
Really?
I don't know what it is.
The restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. That would imply several Wendy's. Yeah. The innuendo you're.
Hey, Oj, you're gonna have to leave the podcast early tonight.
The Wendy's are coming over. Oh God. But when I eat at the restaurant Wendy's, I don't know what it is. My nose ends up getting really itchy, and it's the same fucking thing that's happening right now, which is weird because I've eaten this same thing that I ate tonight, which is just a turkey wrap with some mayonnaise, some cheese, and some leafy greens in there. And I eat it several times a week. I don't fucking know why my nose is all itchy. Did you carry something in here with you? Some
My nose has been itching all day too.
Maybe
we've sort of been sharing a building all day, so
yeah, I don't know. Well, this building is much more poorly ventilated.
Sure. But no, the key thing will be if Jeff and Kelly tomorrow are also
if their noses are itchy.
And by the way, we determined as I was walking by, I'm getting coffee in my cup, and that you have a very strange psychological problem, which is you can't discern between middle-aged blonde women.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is something that we've talked about
before,
several times before.
But then as we talked about that, and
it became more and more apparent.
Right, and there's more to the list.
Specifically, famous middle-aged blonde women.
Okay, because as I'm walking to get coffee, I look over to my left as I'm going there, and I go, oh shit, he doesn't know who Kim is.
Yes, yeah. No. See, I see Kim every day, so that's different. But it's a thing where they're like any sort of like kind of middle-aged blonde actress. Yeah. For some reason, they all meld together. White as well. Yeah. They all blonde. They all blonde together.
They're all blonde together. They are blonde together.
Yeah, they all just blend together in my head, and I just cannot tell the difference between them. Like,
it's not just that you're denigrating who they are. They're all admirable people in their own right, but
I think a number of them are fantastic actresses. I just
it has
cannot
nothing to do with that.
Physically tell the difference between them for some reason. Like the worst two. Or the worst three, like I usually have it as four, but I think truly the worst three is Kate Blanchett, Kate Winslet, and Naomi Watts.
Right.
I confuse the three of them for each other constantly because they're beautiful middle-aged blonde women from the Commonwealth, and that makes them all interchangeable to me.
I feel like my goal is by the end of February, I'm going to convince you that our traffic director is Naomi Watts.
It's just like. Were you in season 3 of Twin Peaks? I've seen. Were you? Was that you? No, you were in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind when you dyed your hair blue.
Exactly. You were trying to forget Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Or were you Galadriel? I can't remember. See, I can remember who is who if their hair color is different.
Sure.
Because I can remember Kate Blanchett because she dyed her hair black for Thor Ragnarok. And then I can remember Kate Winslet because she dyed her hair for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Well, which one got painted naked on the boat?
That was Kate Blanchett. Fuck! No!
That was Kate Winslet.
And that's another thing. Their names are both Kate.
Yeah, Kate and then something's lit.
Exactly. Something at. Yeah. That's another.
That's not fair.
That confuses me about them. But we were talking about I Wrestled the Bear once. So we both chose Doomed to Fail. Doomed to Fall. I think.
Doomed to Fail. Okay, I think
is it fall or fail?
I believe it's Doomed to Fail, and I believe it's erroneously reported to the streaming services as Doomed to Fall.
Interesting.
I think Doomed to Fail is because I think I had to look that up. I'm like, this says Doomed to Fall, but I think I saw it as Doomed to Fail somewhere else.
Spotify says Doomed to Fall. What does Wikipedia say?
Doomed to Fail, I want to say.
Let's look at it. It does. You're correct. Yeah. That's weird. Right. Interesting.
So I don't know which one it's supposed to be.
I would presume Doomed to. I don't know. I do want to give an honorable mention to the last song.
Yeah.
Your God is Too Small.
Your God is Too Small. Very good song.
I think that's a very good song. It's also a quote that I really like.
Right.
There's a book from the 50s that I think is maybe the origin of the quote. What I know it from is the reboot of Cosmos.
Right.
The 2014 Cosmos reboot. There's an episode
Neil
about
deGrasse Titan. Yeah.
It's an episode about
Neil deGrasse Titan. Did I just say that?
he's a big guy.
He is a big guy.
But no,
on many levels.
Yeah, sure. There's an episode either about I think it's about Copernicus. It might have been Galileo. Either way, a visionary scientist who was killed by the church.
Right.
And in like the animated segments, which was one of the things that I thought was really cool about that version of Cosmos is the animated bits. That as they're dragging him off, he yells at them, "Your God is too small."
Right.
Which I thought was a really sort of powerful little bit there.
I like it was paraphrased in Avengers. By Hulk.
Puny God. Yes, that's what they were going
exactly.
for. Exactly.
Copernicus is what
Yeah.
what the writers were thinking of there.
That's what they were thinking.
I thought, was it Green Eyes? Is that the name of it?
Green Eyes, yes.
Yeah, great song.
I think what we're getting at is like, if it's got some melody and clean singing on it, it's the ones that we like the most.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to enjoy about this album. Maybe a little bit too much of a good thing in some places, but I think you can also hear little bits and pieces of what would kind of be Spiritbox eventually. There's little bits in there, and I was reading that Courtney had said she was a lot more involved in the making of this album, where like her first album she was just kind of around. And just did vocals because she started out as a fill-in. It's like, oh, congratulations, you're a full member of the band now. She apparently had a lot more input on this album, which I wonder how much of what I like about this is just her influence. And maybe that's the difference between my earlier experiences with this band and this record. Maybe it has something to do with her influence and with Mike's influence too, because I know I really love Spiritbox, and so that might just be it. I don't know. And that's, nothing against you if you like earlier I Wrestled the Bear Once. It's just a little too much for me, which is weird because like, I've also really liked Dillinger Escape Plan, but I feel like there's always something a little. The vast majority of like Dillinger Escape Plan's discography feels more mature a lot of the time. Not that it takes itself super seriously all the time, but there's just so much more genuine like anger and rage on so much Dillinger stuff. And just talking about it now, I want to listen to Farewell Mona Lisa or something like. God, I miss Dillinger Escape Plan. There's Greg Puciato put out a solo album that I haven't listened to all the way through.
Also, have you listened to Kill or Be Killed at all? Any of that stuff?
Oh, did they do something new?
They did do something new, but
okay.
I mean,
I have listened to.
You have listened to all that stuff?
Yeah. Kill or Be Killed. Like there's an interesting like web of side projects, with a bunch of bands where you can connect like Dillinger Escape Plan, Mastodon, Converge, and like a whole bunch of these bands you can kind of like connect together through side projects they've done.
And I didn't realize that until recently, but Troy's brother is also the bass player in another famous band.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What do you know? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head. Shit. What is
good bass playing? Just runs in the family.
It is. It's in the blood.
It's in the blood. Bass is in the blood. You heard it here first.
Sanders brother. I got to learn to. No, not try.
Try Sanders. Hi, I'm Try Sanders.
Kyle Sanders.
Kyle Sanders.
Kyle.
Who does he play bass for?
He was in Hell Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Hell Yeah.
You know what it is. It was Vinnie Paul's band.
Oh, that's probably why I don't know.
After Pantera broke up.
Okay, yeah, I don't know a lot about most of what I know about Pantera is the stuff that we have talked about together.
Sure. So you don't know about Damage Plan or any stuff like that?
No, not really. What album are you going to bring next week?
Next week, I was wondering, and I was actually discussing things, with some ladies in my life who love metal.
Okay.
I was like, hey, so from a lady's perspective, what would you like to hear dudes talk about? I know we're in a place where we can really say, I understand the woman's perspective.
Yes. I think from the opening of this episode of this podcast, that
obvious.
should be apparent.
Yeah. It just comes to dumb guys.
A couple of dinguses.
Have we ever talked about Lacuna Coil?
No. I know. I think the two of us together have talked about it at some point. I think it's been brought up, but we have not done an episode about them.
As I'd like to.
I'm aware of them.
Yeah. Because you were talking about 2007, and it's very dated. I'm like,
okay,
this album's from 2006, so it's going to sound very similar.
Well, there's a difference between a band that was founded in 2007 and a band that made music in 2007.
I suppose, yeah.
Those are two mildly separate things.
Right.
But I feel like I've listened to some Lacuna Coil before.
Yeah.
I think.
I really like them. I mean, they're a little more mainstream than a lot of stuff that I might listen to.
That could be fine. Sure. So what's the album?
Karma Code.
Karma Code by Lacuna Coil next week. Okie dokie. So until then, okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Yeah, sure.
You just get possessed by it every once in a while, and you have to let it out.
Especially when you're at Hustfest. Or you spend the day at Hustfest,
Just walking around, seeing all the umlauts over every word, and just loaded up on Viking on a stick.
Oh, I love the Viking on a stick. I wish I could reproduce that somehow. It's so delicious. It's just a meatball on a stick. I mean, it's like a part veal, part just regular beef, part venison, and there's like rolled up, and then there's sage and different herbs and black pepper, and then it's dipped in like a pancake batter and deep fried, and then you dip it in mustard, and it's just talking about this.
Viking
every gland in my head is exploding.
Must have Viking on a stick. Mm-hmm. But where I was going with that is until our next episode.
Silver, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we didn't say. Yeah, I'm also giving this a silver. Yeah. Like Moskin out of Chewbacca. Bestowing a medal upon it. Silver. Yeah. My nose is itchy. All right, focus. Just got to finish the episode.
Maybe get a Benadryl or something.
Yeah, good God. All right. Thank you for listening. Till next time, why don't you go ahead and follow us on social media on Facebook or Twitter and subscribe to our feed on whatever it is you are using to listen to us. Mm-hmm. Till next time. I forgot how we normally get out of this. Thanks very much for listening.
I'm Kale. I'm OJ.
Congratulations.
Dear God.
Itchy nose.
No.